Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first Singerreise video podcast of 2017. This is episode number 18. My name is Jonathan Silvia, and I'm the host of this series. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're up for a good old-fashioned ghost story, because today's episode is about Irrlicht, number 9 in the Winterreise cycle. Previous to this, we were taking a look at the town and all of its various features. The river that runs through it, the trees, the houses, remembering the maiden that used to live there, and even the snow and the ice which seemed to cover everything. Just previous to this, in number 8, Irrlicht, our wanderer sets off at a dead run, trying to leave the town behind him. He manages to do so, and in fact I think he may have even overdone the running just a little bit, because by the time we get to Irrlicht, he starts seeing some lights. Irrlicht is the German word for will-o'-the-wisp, those ghostly lights that you might see over a bog. You can think of Frodo Baggins and the ghostly lights that he sees in the dead marshes when he's traveling through them. Now, Wikipedia has a great article on will-o'-the-wisps, so if you're really interested in those, you can check it out there. It doesn't tell us too much about the German tradition, however. Irrlicht in German, to me, kind of translates to wrong lights. And just like the Frodo example, they tend to pull wanderers off of their usual path. And it does so in this case. Our wanderer goes down into some dark places in the earth. He goes down into some ravines and some dry creek beds. It doesn't seem to bother the wanderer to follow the will-o'-the-wisp wherever it might lead him. After all, he's gotten used to going astray and off the path. He adopts a little bit of an all roads lead to Rome sort of philosophy, except in this case he claims that all paths lead to the grave. That includes things like joy and sorrow, which he claims are the playthings of the will-o'-the-wisp. He likens it to all of the underground currents that always lead out to the sea. They always seem to wind up there. Schubert's main musical depiction here is that of the wanderer's slow, plodding, aimless and weary steps down among the creek beds, now that we've finally got him to stop running. The vocal line is a little bit dramatic. It goes very high and very low, it wanders around, but to me it feels a little bit like a ballad, or maybe even a folk-songy storytelling sort of approach. This is in stark contrast to the previous piece, Irrlicht, which was very rigid, very fast, and almost had no stops in it. Here, in Irrlicht, is much more free-form and very flexible and slow, taking lots of time where we want it. There's a few good word-painting moments that Schubert throws in there that are pretty easy to pick up on. In the first line, for example, we have in die tiefsten Felsengrunde, and here, tiefsten means the deepest or the lowest. Schubert, of course, puts a low G in that line. There's a few interesting words in there that I needed to do a little bit more digging on. One of them was, right in that first line, Felsengründe. The best that I could come up with for that was rocky crags. Another word I found interesting was the word irrgehen, which kind of means wronggoings or going astray. It has that same prefix as the title of the piece, Irrlicht, and so they are tied together. You have your wrong lights leading to wrong goings. Another pair of words that I found interesting were Bergstrom and Strom. Berg is pretty easy, that just means mountain. But Strom seems to be another word that we can use to describe a river. In this case, though, it might be better to translate it as a sort of water current. We also have the word rinnen, which we've translated before as river, but here, rinnen seems to be the channel that the water current runs through. There actually isn't all that much water. The river seems to be all trockene, dried up. In fact, this is one of the first pieces in the Winterreise cycle where we haven't talked about ice, or Schnee, snow. There's ice and Schnee seem to be distinctly absent from this piece. I interpret the piece with a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom. There is, however, the rhythm issue that first came up in Wasserflute, where you have a dotted rhythm in one part and a tripletized rhythm in the other part. I actually spent a lot of time going through the entire score on this piece, trying to figure out if the dotted rhythm of the 16th note with a dot and 32nd note should be interpreted as a tripletized 8th note and 16th note. By the way, that's a lot of flags. In the end, though, I decided that it didn't really matter. Because of the slow tempo and all of the rubato, it was more important that the notes line up between the singer and the piano, and that we were working together, and that generally one of the notes was on the long side and the other note was not quite as long. The exact ratios of long and short, that wasn't as important here. Anyway, that's my take on Irrlicht. If you want to find out more about Winterreise, the art song cycle, check out our website, singerreise.com, and you'll find all sorts of articles and links to some resources. You can also check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Singerreise, and join the community there, discuss things, comment on things, or comment right here in the YouTube channel. There is, of course, the Patreon page where you can subscribe and become a patron and a supporter of the Singerreise project. When you do that, you get bonus videos, bonus audio, and lots of other little perks, as well as the good thoughts of knowing that you are supporting the arts. Anyway, I hope you found this educational. I hope that you find Irrlicht entertaining. So, enjoy this presentation. In die tiefsten Felsengründe lockt mich ein Irrlicht hin, wie ich einen Ausgang finde, liegt nicht schwer mir in dem Sinn, liegt nicht schwer mir in dem Sinn. Bin gewohnt, das Irre gehen, es führt ja jeder Weg zum Ziel. Unsere Freuden, unsere Leiden, alles eines Irrlichts Spiel, alles eines Irrlichts Spiel. Durch des